All right, we're here. We're here. As I told you before this episode started, I started a new job,
Hmm.
and suffice to say that shenanigans has begun. Shenanigans has begun, and it's only been day two. So the thing I want to pose to you today it is because I told you right that
Right.
it's basically The Office. So, what type of like which episode of The Office or which shenanigans happens that you want me to basically instigate happening?
We can't say where you work at, but like a prank war would be tremendous. Like if you pick out your Dwight, whoever that is in the office, and you just decide to go demon time, that can work.
So what you're saying is uh have one of the guys basically do identity theft. Identity theft is a serious crime. Actually, yeah, I know exactly who to do it to and exactly who to have be the gem of the group.
Perfect.
But next thing is, who from the Office cast do you think I embody?
Dang, chaos personified. Man, oh man. See, I don't think you are Steve Carell's character. I feel like at heart you're a Jim, but you're not as proactively evil as Jim.
You're right. You're right. As I said, I'm evil when it benefits me, but or I just want to cause chaos and want to have entertainment. He just
Right.
goes out of his way to do it. And then I think for you, you may be a that's I don't know. I was gonna say Andy, but then I was like maybe a little bit of Stanley in there.
I feel Stan in my soul.
I was like, you definitely got some Stanley vibes. You
Hatred for humanity, especially after last week.
don't remind me. But all right, so as of today, we got ourselves not the Rogue Jedi, but I am Jim. And then instead of the Fallen Shinigami, we got Stanley for today.
Yes. And also, I'm also called Demetrius,
And I'm apparently called Demetrius as well.
and Meech presents.
The Blerd City podcast.
All right, so this is another OVA episode, essentially a bonus. Originally, this was kind of going to be our final episode of season two, but next week is the Super Mario Brothers movie, so we just kind of wanted to give you that extra special dash of it, give our last, movie review of season two before we decide what we want to do next moving forward. One thing that I keep missing to do that I always wanted to do, shout out to whoever is our Singapore listeners or whoever has the Singapore VPN. Because y'all are definitely been rocking with us since day one and every week. So I definitely appreciate that and all our other international listeners. So that's something I definitely wanted to do. Yeah, my mom did text me and call me after my rant last week. We will keep that conversation between us. So with that, let's hit you with the legal spiegel.
Oh man, we're gonna have to talk about that later. But the purpose of this podcast is to explore digital and print media. All sources we reference are owned by their respective companies, and our thoughts and opinions are strictly our own and reflect no biases or corporate agendas whatsoever. Your discretion is advised.
All right. So with what's coming up now, we're kind of in the transition phase of a lot of different shows, movies. We're about to hit peak movie season, April into May. Anime is switching up, but it doesn't really drop until like next week. So I have a few things. That's what's hot. But Meets, I heard you got something big down the pipeline. So what's hot?
All right, so I'm pretty sure you all saw the announcements and you knew we were gonna have to talk about it at some point. The fact that E3 is canceled this year.
It's dead.
It's canceled this year. They hope that it'll come back next year, which I'm just like, nah, it ain't a good look for y'all. Because think about this. Okay, so 2020, it didn't happen because obviously.
Right.
2021, it didn't happen again. And then 2022, it got canceled again. This is the fourth year in a row that E3 doesn't happen. And fact of the matter is, like, with this year was pretty huge because of the fact that Sony backed out. Microsoft backed out. Nintendo backed out.
That was the big one.
With those three gone, you're just like, oh yeah, there's no point. I don't forgot the name of the people that E3 were working with. But in that case, but either way, right? It just shows that I think we're at a point where E3 is obsolete because of the fact, like, remember E3, you could just literally just do oh yeah, that's right, 2021 was a virtual E3, but yeah, just going to E3, going like seeing all the major announcements. This is stuff that you can get in, like, as I said, through YouTube, through through the internet in all ways, shapes, or forms. So, like, hey, this is a new era, folks, of no more E3, and oh my god.
Yeah, E3 was definitely, it was like it was the Comic-Con of like the official Comic-Con of gaming, like biggest announcements and everything, but like literally everybody can do their own announcements. Like you mentioned the YouTube, like like imagine if E3 dropped Budokai Tenkaichi news, but like that got dropped on its own like streaming or like event and stuff like that. So yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, so yeah, and that's kind of like the main thing I wanted to bring up. Cause I was like, bro, we are in a new era, and as I said, the future's not looking good for E3 because if how I'm thinking it's gonna go is that each major studio is gonna have like their own little mini, like mini E3,
yes,
or mini event. So, Sony gonna have theirs, Microsoft gonna have theirs, Nintendo gonna have theirs. I feel sorry for those like Konami and like Sega, all the smaller and indie companies, because like, bro, that was your platform to go on it.
Like, didn't have PlayStation have like a state of play or something like that for them?
Yes.
So,
yes, they did. Sheesh. But yeah, that was the main news I wanted to get off the chest before I tackle into the normalcy. So now back into our regularly scheduled program. All right, so let's talk about it. Anime scene. You got Tokyo Revengers, right? After this last episode.
Yeah, that was Tokyo Revengers. I was kind of down on the season because of how you messed it up for me, but definitely that last episode was like, yeah, but it was good. It's good. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh yeah, and then as you know, Blue Lock is finished for now.
Peak Lock.
Oh yes. Blue Lock.
Wait. If they have a movie. And like you saw, like sometimes in like season 1 where like the animation like really dropped, the fact that it was so popular. Again, watch season 1 of Demon Slayer and then watch season 2 of Demon Slayer. The animation is so different. Blue Lock animation with that budget about to go crazy. I can't take it.
Oh no, and then also we're in a few short weeks away from Demon Slayer coming back, as you mentioned.
Yep.
The Demon Boys is about to be here. We're gonna sell some blickies that are about to come out. And then also in terms of the anime scene, we also got the One Piece. They finally coming back from their hiatus. They had to they had to take a break, recharge, relive a little. And then we're going into, and now transitioning into the other stuff. Of course, in Star Wars, The Bad Batch, they finished season 2 on
I'm 3 episodes behind, but I know like where I picked up at. It's been really good, so I'm almost there.
I ain't gonna say no more. Let's just say that finale though, for season 2, you gonna feel something. And then we got our boy Mando, season 3. Tightening up.
Yes, sir.
Got our Queen Bo-Katan. I pledge my service. I serve.
Yes.
I serve. This is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way I serve. Oh wait, hold on. Combine those two, that'd be crazy. And then also another thing that a few people in my clique that we're watching Love is Blind. And as I mentioned before, and as the Afro Puff Samurai mentioned before, this is the era of villains. They dropped 3 new episodes yesterday at the time of at this recording. So on that Friday, just more villain shenanigans.
Have your thoughts on Arena changed?
No. As a matter of fact, it might have gotten worse.
No.
But no. But here's the thing. There's another guy who might be up there with her.
Is it not Kwame?
It's not. Actually, he's barely a number 2. No, there's one guy who we mentioned, like, he was like in the beginning episodes in Constant Drama. He comes back in one episode and immediately elevates my hatred to near arena levels. Do you realize how bad that is?
That's not great.
Like, you get like maybe 2 episodes to yourself, disappear without leaving a mark on me at all, and then the instant you come back, I immediately hate you.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
Oh boy,
we're heated this episode. I love it.
Oh no. Now I'm okay. Now I'm in my feels, but we're gonna keep moving on. We're gonna keep moving on. But yeah, that's just some of the things I had up in the pipeline. Of course, Jedi Survivor, Hogwarts Legacy going dummy. I almost fully conquered the world. So
I love it.
So yeah. So what you got?
All right. So one movie that I want to see, I don't know if I want to see it directly when it comes out, but Dungeons & Dragons Honor Amongst Thieves drops. I heard like it has a lot of good scores. I'm not going to focus on the box office. That ain't got nothing to do with me. It has a really fun cast looking like, so that's definitely something that I kind of want to check out at some point. It looks like one of those movies where if I'm in a theater by myself, I would like have an absolute blast. Murder Mystery on Netflix, number 2 came out. Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston, part 2. First one was really funny. I really enjoyed it. Next week, by the time you're hearing this podcast, Super Mario Brothers should drop that Wednesday because of the Good Friday news. And then in the fun part, Gwyneth Paltrow won her trial. The Blerd City has been very active in keeping watch on that. So she has $1 in remunerations. So with that, all right. And also, speaking of trials, we won't touch on one that's coming up.
Whoa.
That's a different podcast. Let's just say I smiled a lot last week. So with this is the Saturday after WrestleMania. So Saturday after WrestleMania already dropped. Night 1, night 2. That's something that definitely hyped. Final 4 in women in college basketball, as well as men's. Let's just say Caitlin Clark is her. And then something that I also wanted to touch on. Remember Ned's the Classified School Survival Guide?
Yes, and how I need an adult version.
With that, they have a podcast, the OG3. Yes, they have a podcast right now. Because they're going through each episode of the series, and right now they're on episode 7 of it.
I don't need that. I need an adult Ned's Declassified adulting.
We did get like that question about like things like, did you try it off of like romantically speaking from like TV shows? But like in terms of life in middle school, I definitely copied Ned's Declassified for a lot of different things.
You and me both. I need one for adulting. I need one for romance. I need one for because
taxes.
Man, don't even get me started on taxes. IRS, you still ain't gonna find me.
Blerd City does not want smoke with the IRS. Let me tell you that. The only competent bureaucracy in America. So with that, we are getting into get it off your chest. One that you have been scared of, but I don't know why. Well, I guess because you're gonna do it.
Again, what is this? Get it off your chest. I'm scared. I don't know what's happening. He just said, yeah, you're going to do this, get off your chest. And I was like, wait, I have nothing to talk about, nothing to get off my chest. What do you have for me?
So with season 1, I think you only mentioned something like one time. It wasn't really big, but in season 2, you have wanted forever smoke with a certain fan base. Even though Blerd City is open to all, there's one fan base that you despise among all, the op below and below all. Furries. I have the level of vehemency that you have for furries is caught me off guard. every chance you've had to like throw shots at them, you've taken it. I wanted to like at some point in the season just give you the floor to do it. And since this is just a random episode, this is your opportunity. So I'm going to step back. I'm going to mute myself, and I'm not going to say anything until you finish. So go ahead.
Oh, you should not have done that, sir. I was gonna keep my mouth quiet. I was gonna say my piece. I was gonna like let them live. I was gonna let them make it. I was gonna let them make it. You know, I just throw jabs and let them make it. But nah, you decided to. You decided to ruin their day, not mine. So let's talk about it, right? Let's talk about the furdom, because you guys are the pinnacle of what's wrong with nerd culture, right? Because you guys give the rest of us a bad rap. Okay, first of all, it starts with, like, there are levels to the furriness, right? I say level one is the bronies. You know who you are. The My Little Pony stands. If you are over the age of 18 and you still rocking with My Little Ponies, bring that here, boy. I want all the smoke with you because y'all is weird. Bro, that is like one step below. Oh, no, I was about to say something crazy. I was about to say something. Not get us canceled. Oh, no, no. All right. All right. So I'm gonna tighten up. I'm gonna tighten up. I'm not gonna get us canceled yet. All right. So, but then the next step after that, right, are these folks who, okay, you can watch those like B stars. Like I don't have a problem with like B stars because you know I rock with my boy Sonic, right? You know, Sonic is neat. Not Sonic is cool. He cool peoples. But then y'all just want to take it one step further, right? Because you furries, you know, you gonna start trying to act like an animal? Y'all quiet now. Oh, y'all quiet now. Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. Y'all gonna start acting like the animals. Next, you're gonna start wanting to have a romantic relationship with said animal. Somebody call PETA. Somebody call PETA and get your mans. Get them. And then if I find out PETA are furries as well, then we going to war. We are going to war. A one-man war between PETA and me, and I'm gonna win because I am him. And then the fursuits. Oh yeah, I'm about to talk about y'all's fursuits. The cringe. The cringe. The way y'all walk and talk. Y'all ooh woo. The ooh woos. I'm like, nah. He's coming from grown men. He's coming from men. Yeah, sometimes y'all even just doing half anthropomorphic animals. Like y'all get the tails, y'all get the claws, y'all get the ears. No, that ain't it, Chief. Now, I ain't dogging on y'all completely, but when y'all try to proclaim that y'all are the best fandom, y'all is not. Okay? There's a reason it's on site with all of y'all because of the fact that, okay, at the end of the day, right, you guys are like a part of the nerd community, whether I want y'all to or not. And you know the saying that a bad apple spoils the entire bunch. And it's through y'all's attitudes, y'all sexual preferences. I'm leaving it at that because I ain't trying to get this podcast canceled again. But let's just say that in y'all's community, and I have seen it, there's a certain 445s who are in the community, and I'm just leaving it at that. And typically they kind of start off like on the wrong path, and the way y'all go about it, I'm just like, bro, see, and you see, I'm not, and at the end of the day, like, and it's because of that y'all are inciting violence. Y'all are inciting violence in me, but I'm not gonna do anything to y'all. I'm just gonna say my piece and then just leave it at that because I'm just like, no. And I, at least I'm not like one of those guys who, because I know about the tragedy that happened where you guys like there was a convention and then somebody put like I forgot what type of gas in the AC to where some of y'all were getting sick. Like that is completely messed up. And I'm being dead serious about this. Like if you guys do that to a community, like you deserve jail time. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. And I would never incite violence against y'all because again, like obviously these are jokes, and I will only say stuff and I'll only like just verbally attack y'all. But at the end of the day, like, and I'm still gonna say this again, like the cringe on y'all is out of pocket. You guys are like one step below all of the all the people who give the anime fans a bad name. We're talking to you, body pillows. We're talking to you, rent a girlfriends and all that jazz. But yeah, I'm done. I said my piece. I'm a keep quiet for right now before I get on a whole spiel about the weird weebs in the community.
That's what a 445 is.
Do you want to know?
I don't think so.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're right. When you said that the bronies are one step below, I know what you're talking about, what they're below.
My little brony, please get out of my face.
Oh man, I'm in tears with that. That was I'm glad you got that off your chest. You feel better now?
No, no, I'm not because the smoke is still there.
Oh,
Mikey from Internet Series, I love you, dog, and I'm gonna see you at DreamCon, but and we gonna hang out, but
I hope you dress like Ghosty just for you.
but bro, I'm gonna need you to do better. I'm gonna need you to do better. Aaron from Internet Series, I'm gonna need you to tighten up on him. I know you've been tightening up on him for all the time y'all known each other, but this is one of those times you really need to tighten up. Again, I'm gonna roll with y'all like when y'all down here. So hey,
Oh.
Here's what it is.
Oh, well, yes, villain art continues. Rogue Jedi, Super Saiyan Sith over here. So let's keep it going. So we're gonna do a really fun make your case. It's been a while since we do it. Usually it's about fandom, what we kind of prefer, things that we think are the best, the worst, the hardest, and stuff like that. But this one is actually a real court case. So, like I mentioned last week, DC, The Rock, essentially they're throwing him under the bus for the destruction of the Shazam Black Adam universe and just like his meddling behind the scenes and different things like that. So with that, we are going to take two sides of the coin. One of us is going to defend The Rock, and the other is going to prosecute him, as with DC. We don't know which side we're going to do yet. We are doing a live coin flip on the air. So just before we start, one thing, I might be in trouble because I'm going up against a future lawyer. So, so let's get it.
All right. So I'm gonna flip this coin, and I want you to call heads or tails.
Okay, which one is which? Let's say heads is DC, tails is The Rock.
Yes. You want heads? All right. So unfortunately, you getting tails, my guy.
All right. So I'm defending The Rock.
Yes, you are.
Lord have mercy, because I'm on the opposite side, but I can do it.
All right. So we are here in the trial of DC versus Dwayne The Rock Johnson for the crime of ruining the DC Shazam universe via executive meddling and through all types of chicanery behind the scenes.
First, can I say, you're really one of those people that catch the coin and flip it after it lands?
Yes.
That's insane. That's destroying fate.
Nah, because if it's fate, then it's still gonna land exactly where it needs to go. And also I gotta rock with the boy Harvey Dent.
That's fair. That's fair. All right, let's get it.
Okay, so would you like to give your opening statement?
First, since you're the prosecutor, you have to bring up the case.
Oh, yes. Okay, so essentially what has been going on is the fact that The Rock has been trying his best to make it seem like he is the forerunner of the new DC universe with his Shazam. I mean, not Shazam, Black Adam, if you will. And with that, there have been a lot of people who especially like behind the scenes, like folks like James Gunn and Gal Gadot and even Henry Cavill, who has basically stated, right, that Dwayne the Rock Johnson, he kind of overstepping, if you will. And and the fact like he keeps wanting to push like, hey, Black Adam gonna be the face of DC, and you're just like, bro, chill. So in other words, cooler heads are not prevailing, and he wants to essentially like take over, even though James Gunn has a plan for the DC verse.
All right. So you say that The Rock, he meddles, he became a leader behind the scenes. So with that, when Black Adam was created, DC had no idea what its future was. So with that, we just got out of the Zack Snyder cut that was begged for the longest time after 3+ years of fans kind of wanting to go along. No one knew what the future of DC was going headed. The last movie that came out, I believe, was The Suicide Squad, the new one with James Gunn, but DC was still in the decision-making process of what they wanted to do next. So The Rock, being the star that he is, decided to step up. There are still questions about who the Superman was going to be. Was Ben Affleck coming back as Batman? A lot of influx. So The Rock decided to be the leader and star that he is, be the center of DC. But that is kind of just, a speculation, I would say. He wanted to be the star that he is and push his star power to help DC grow. That's all that my client really wanted to do.
Okay, so we can agree that DC, at the time when the Black Adam was being made, that the DC verse was in flux. Okay, it was like everything was not exactly going as planned, but really, right, as soon as we added James Gunn to the team, as soon as he basically say like, all right, I actually do have a plan, and it's not going to involve Black Adam or Shazam, at least anybody from the previous DCEU. At that point, The Rock should, right? He should have like taken that at face value. He's like, all right, that was a bit of an L, but we can bounce back. Like, all right, just want to like hopefully like move forward. Hey, you got like Fast and Furious movies, my guy. Even though like Hobbs and Shaw did like too well, like you could easily like make sequels off of that. But unfortunately, that's apparently not what happened, right? Okay, so we have Shazam 2, Fury of the Gods. Underwhelming in the box office, right? But the fact is that The Rock vetoed the post-credit scene. Like, he didn't want that to happen because he wanted to be the forerunner of that. But remember, at the time that Shazam was made, James Gunn was already on board. So, or at least he was just getting there. So the movie was basically 99% done. And in order to not basically pull a Batgirl, we gonna release this movie, kind of be like the last one before Ezra chokes someone out. Miller, Ezra the problematic Miller's The Flash basically resets everything. So essentially, Dwayne The Rock Johnson basically overstepped his bounds, and to be clear, and I just wanted this to be perfectly clear, it isn't entirely his fault for the failings of DC. I want to get that out of the way because I don't want any words to be misconstrued. He had issues, but you know what? I'm gonna say that for the next point.
All right, I'm glad you mentioned Fast and Furious and Hobbs and Shaw. So Fast and Furious kicked off as a pure racing, street racing expenditure, if you will. When The Rock first got introduced in, I would say, Fast 5, that's when the franchise itself took off to another level. When it became a box office attraction to go and not just a kind of indie thing. So 5 and 6, there were issues behind the scenes, but using his star power, he launched that to a next phase where it was able to now subsist as itself as it comes to an end. And then with Hobbs and Shaw, again, that did do very well. Great chemistry with him and Decker Shaw, if you will, and they can have multiple movies moving forward with that. And also, just like you mentioned, the failings of DC and timing. So Black Adam, Black Adam, along with Shazam, both got, I believe, pushed back. Shazam was supposed to drop last year, but then got pushed back till after James Gunn got hired. So the movie was essentially done outside of filming and stuff like that. So when Black Adam ended, then like a month later, I would say, that's when James Gunn got introduced as the leader of DC. And then right after that, about another month later, he cut my legs out from underneath my client twice. So one, releasing the entire 2025 schedule of the first phase of the new DCU, and then also announcing that Henry Cavill won't be back as Superman. So my client had the right idea, putting Henry Cavill back in the spotlight. And I do recall the prosecution was one of the ones in the theater shouting and clapping at that reveal. So with that, he did have the right idea. And then with that being cut out from under him, he has had his movie undermined.
Okay. Very interesting points. Interesting statements that have been made. Correct. All right. So I just want to basically talk. Let's talk a little bit about Shazam too, right? Basically, like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, he had his hands in that movie. Like, he had his hands in it, okay? Vetoing several ideas that could have connected it better to the wider world, right? Seeing the return of the Justice Society in the movie, heck, having Shazam show up in Black Adam. It's almost as if he wanted some kind of control, as a bit of a control freak. And DC at that point was, again, like, is in the midst of fluctuations in leadership, if you will. But the problem is that if you try to take control without having a detailed plan, and when I mean detailed, I mean detailed, and not just, get the, like, not just, okay, we're taking this like one step at a time. Like, think about it. In today's market, most movies, or at least very large amount of successful movies, are interconnected and part of a universe. Let's take the distinguished competition over at Marvel, for example. Kevin Feige and Jon Favreau, the Don, they both established they both had a set plan for their universe, and they knew exactly how to start it and where it was going to end. Sure, there may have been like slight variances in release schedules, because that's often going to happen due to, executive meddling, but they had an exact plan. However, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, at least in part, didn't seem that he had that complete plan. Like, how are you going to basically address like the top dogs over at the, like, who's going to be the top villain, or like who's going to basically, like, what's the reason for these movies to be interconnected, other than the fact that, like, all right, these characters just happen to be in the same verse, or like all these movies are basically standalone apart from like a couple cameos here and there. Like, there really needs to be like something more concrete out there in order to connect movies together. And it seemed like, in part, that while Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, he wanted to have that control, he wanted to essentially proclaim that, like, all right, hey, I want these movies to stay, and I want these to work. At the end of the day, you're not the executives, you're not the head, you're not the HMIC. You are an actor, an acclaimed actor, really popular actor, former wrestler, and of course you do have some clout to your name. But I think you did, at the end of the day, overstep your role and your boundaries, especially in regards to like future planning.
And for my closing arguments, I would say that yes, potentially overstep, but there are limits because DC itself was operating as if multiple universes exist within one universe. So something he wanted to do, reading off of the success of, say, a Venom, where the side villain is getting his own story arc and his own universe surrounded around that, but with not having control, the connection to it, Shazam is kind of iffy, say like a Venom with a Spider-Man. So with that, him wanting to build his own universe, he is going a separate direction, if you will. Handcuffed, as you can say, but with that, I do say that he was on the right track. The movie was initially well received, and then box office numbers started to kind of skew that. And again, the different things that cut from under it, thus dropping the ratings of the movies and overall reception.
All right. And for my closing arguments, I do want to state that at the end of the day, again, like Dwayne The Rock Johnson, you may be passionate about this project. You may have had a maybe a clear goal for your character, or maybe like the supporting cast, but at the end of the day, it's like you can voice your opinion to the executives. You may have even if you have maybe a small plan for your verse and you want to implement that, at the end of the day, it's not your choice. It's not like your ultimate decision to just go ahead and do it. It is the executives, it's the director, it's the writers, and while you are acclaimed as an actor, you're not in those executive positions. So you overstepped your boundaries there. And because of overstepping said boundaries, it led to basically a movie tanking, to another movie basically tanking. And essentially, like, now you're in hot water with DC because of that. And while James Gunn did say that, like, hey, we may want Black Adam, we may want to do something with it, it may not be you as Black Adam. It may be somebody else completely. The same thing with Henry Cavill. Like, you may have had, like, Henry in there, but because of essentially, like, your final actions and trying to overstep, you basically got him caught up in your shenanigans as well, which led to him not only getting booted as Superman again, but also don't forget about The Witcher. He basically lost his chance at The Witcher because you wanted him back as Superman, not knowing what the plans would be, and you just went with it anyways. So you basically threatened the livelihood of a good man, a very good man. And that's my closing arguments. In this case of DC versus Dwayne The Rock Johnson, I prosecute Dwayne The Rock Johnson for his chicanery, for his actions, for his reckless attitude, for his for the way he basically tried to overstep his boundaries in the industry. And even though he should know better, and that at the end of the day, it's not really his choice.
All right. And for that, we'll let the people decide how they feel about that. Personally, I'm kind of with you where it's like, well, one, I think it's just like the incompetence of DC throughout the entire DCEU kind of led to this, where it even led to the position of we don't know what's next, and allowing someone to be in that position. But I also think like his meddling handicapped his own movie and then cut the legs out from under Shazam, because again, I don't, comic book people that see these movies are nerds.
Mm-hmm.
Shazam is his number one op. He should have been like promoting it. And the fact that you literally got your powers from the same wizard, you can't just be like, oh, Shazam doesn't exist, in my opinion. So definitely he hurt that in that perspective. But I do think DC itself, hopefully, now that it has direction, can avoid that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It was a very tumultuous situation, and Mans did not make it better.
All right, so we'll trust in you, James Gunn and Peter Safran. So for the next portion, just with this again being a random episode, I have it as random ruminations. We're going to bring two topics that it could literally be anything that we want to discuss, have a brief convo on before we get to our big discussion. So do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
Actually, can you go first because I literally just made your case and kind of forerun that one, so I need a little second.
That's fair. That's fair. So one thing that I want to see moving forward is I want to see studios take real risk when it comes to storytelling. With that being more specific, like the Oscars literally said a lot about like how well, obviously, like the fans don't really vote on the Oscars, but like the reception to a lot of it. So like everything everywhere all at once literally like bodied the Oscars, but it's also one of the few movies that like won an award at the Oscars where I feel like a lot of people actually like the movie and actually saw the movie and can discuss it and like had things to pull away. Like there's so much from that movie where I'm just like, wow, this is like a real life lesson. And then also a movie that I've talked about before was RRR, which is a Tollywood movie. And with both of those movies, they're not like the premise of the movie isn't new or like original, I would say. Like with Everything Everywhere All at Once, it's a multiverse movie. And like even if you just like combine time travel with multiverse, it's like, okay, you can be in any timeline, any place you want to, and you realize at the end of it, the most important thing is like your loved ones. And then with RRR, it being like two people on the opposite sides of the law. They both have motivations. They're friends. They have to like butt head to head, just like save from spoilers and stuff like that. Both of those concepts aren't original. Again, there's nothing really new under the sun, but the way those were told were so unique, like so creative. Literally, like again, our first ever podcast that we recorded on Patreon is Multiverse of Madness. And I had seen Everything Everywhere All at Once before Multiverse of Madness. And I was like, it really doesn't compare, like in terms of like a multiverse movie where it's like that Doctor Strange was kind of like a letdown comparatively. So if like storytelling, like A24 is my favorite studio. Like even with next month that we kind of talked about before the podcast, Beau is Afraid. It's from the director of Hereditary and Midsommar, where it kind of really like those movies left me messed up, and I think the director has like a personal vendetta against me. So with that, and then like even say a John Wick, right? So like it's connected to a multi-universe thing, but let's look at it how it started. Okay, it's like a person is getting revenge for a dog, and then in like we've seen revenge stories where like person he retires, he has to come back for revenge, he kills people, but then you go to like okay, it's not just a dog. There's this assassin society with the Continental that gets teased. Then in part two, it's like okay, I have a marker. Okay, here's this lore. If you have a marker, you have to like respond to it. Oh, it's not just like oh a marker. There's a high table. Then in like part three, okay, you see, okay, he used to be part of a family. He had someone that had a marker, and the lore keeps building upon itself. And then you get part four, where it's like, okay, Marquis de Gramont. Here's the different rules. Here's like that we talked about, where it's like, okay, you can do a duel to get off the high tables, like that side. So I really want to see people take risk, and like even with a Cocaine Bear, which we both laughed, I think it's like showing that like and the box office numbers of like recent superhero movies along with reception, people want to see the new risk. But the one thing I will say is that for every one Cocaine Bear, there are 20 Sharknadoes. So
Oh boy, yeah, that's actually like a really great point when it comes to risks, because like it's one of those problems that like I've kind of I basically like talked about a bunch of times that like originality and like original stuff is dying. It's very much dying over in Hollywood because they're mostly like profit oriented.
yeah,
And because of that, you will essentially like see them do uh like essentially do either the same movie over and over or do like what's safe and what will get them like, all right, what won't just like let us break even will make us profit. Even if it's a low profit, it's a profit nonetheless. And like if you see like creative stuff, right? The creative stuff that does come out, you just go like, And if like no studio has like no faith in it, that typically is a bad sign. Prize the biggest example that I'm surprised you didn't mention, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, that was
That wasn't it, Chief.
it wasn't. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie. But So yeah, like there's an aspect where like, yeah, you do have to be creative in like I want there to have them take more because like even though like it wasn't it and it was kind of a that movie just
Yeah.
that movie just
It wasn't as bad as it needed to be to justify being made.
yeah. It it wasn't a so bad it's good type of movie.
Yes, it was
Like
just like, man.
I was like, I literally just saw it and I promised myself I'll never see it again unless I'm with you know who. And then but again that still goes to the point where like, hey, at least they tried.
And they made a huge profit off of it. So
Yeah, they still made a huge profit. They at least they tried, and that's all you can really say. Like, hey, at least give like experimental movies. At least give like indie like directors and developers a chance
mhm.
because you may never know like what may be the next big thing if you don't try. Because and don't forget that Iron Man and the MCU that was a risk.
Because phase one was not it. If you go back in time, phase one outside of like the Avengers movie and like Captain America movie wasn't really like it wasn't special compared to the previous superhero movies. Let's put it like that.
hmm but Kevin Feige he did it anyways, and now we got 20 plus years of movies.
And
So
more to come.
yeah, and the continuing universe that people care about. So yeah, just give them more risk and give them more all that. Uh, but,
Yeah.
but I was gonna say, but yeah, and this actually leads into my one of my topics, which I'm like, bro, why'd you start off with movies knowing that mine is gonna be a movie base? Let's go into the horror franchise, shall we?
Okay, okay.
All right. So, as you know, Scream 6 came out, and me Lovey's some Scream. And now we got like Evil Dead Rise that's coming out. That's like a requel, and Scream 6 that's kind of like a sequel, or as I call it, a re-sequel, because it's literally just a sequel to Scream 5, which itself was a requel. But yeah, and then Evil Dead Rise. I don't know if it's a requel or if it's like part in the interconnected verse. We don't know because the movie hasn't released yet.
Mhm.
But in the same in the sphere, right? Do you think that originality in horror, like in terms of the horror movie franchise, is or yeah, the horror movie genre, if you will, is dying because here just another list of just horror titles that are literally already connected with another franchise. Saw
Mhm.
10.
Mhm.
Yeah. Let's see. Horror movies releasing.
I know Exorcist is getting a remake, I think.
It was I think it's a prequel. Like it's a prequel type of deal, but then there's also the Friday the 13th prequel that's apparently releasing.
Which is like Camp Crystal Lake TV show, right?
Yeah, but yeah, that's just the sum of things. But then like as a with the originality in that is dying, but then you get stuff like the Boogeyman from Stephen King. You got
Right.
what was it? Renfield, which can you even count that as a horror
It's
movie?
like a slight comedy. I know Children of the Corn got a remake, which was
Bruh,
I haven't seen it, but I heard it was trash.
bruh. Oh yeah. Uh, Insidious 5 is coming out.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
Insidious 5.
We got The Pope's Exorcist, which is coming out soon.
Oh yeah, yeah. Apparently The Nun 2,
Hmm.
which is apparently dropping. Let's see. Oh, The Haunted Mansion,
Ah,
which
yes, the Disney one.
yeah, which I'm just
Which I
like,
don't know if that's a horror.
that yeah. Similar deal with Renfield. It's probably gonna be more on the comedy side than anything else.
We
But
got also The Blackening, which I feel like we have to go see.
oh my god, yes, yes, the black. All right. No, we're getting off topic. Getting off
Yes.
topic because black man, that black man. I'm just like boy. I know like we all gonna go in the theater and it's gonna be nothing but black folk. We gonna be and
Wild.
it's gonna be wild. We gonna be dying in there. I'm gonna be sneaking in my food like I always do. Yes, I am fully endorsing it. I don't care. Try to come, try to find me. Um,
Contraband. To
but
answer,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. At the end of the day, it's like I'm feeling like a lot of these movies, it's not really all too creative, except for maybe the blackening, because it's either like part of an interconnected franchise, or it's over like a character or like a certain trope that you already know about, like Renfield with
Mhm.
Dracula type of deal.
Right. I feel like, because I know, like you mentioned stuff like we just had another Hellraiser movie. Candyman came out a few years ago, like with a remake.
Great.
Um, I would say like again taking risks. Like we just got done with the end of a trilogy with Halloween Ends, which we had our thoughts on it. Uh, but again, we have to take risks. Like again, Hereditary terrified me in the theaters. Midsummer isn't a horror movie, but it's horrifying in a lot of different ways. And just with that, like taking the risk, like X is another one.
Oh yeah, yeah.
X
X and
Pearl,
Pearl.
and then there's another one. I can't remember if it's going to be a sequel or another prequel, but like that
I think it's a
came.
sequel.
Yes, I think it's a sequel to X. So like with that, and just different things like so like also a lot of it is based on lore, so like the boogeyman and stuff like that. So I would say like try different lores, different cultures, but you kind of can run into the like the appropriation aspect of it where it's like, okay, we're gonna do like an Asian lore one or the Grudge essentially, and it's like, oh, we put Penelope in it and she's in Japan and is getting like haunted by this thing and all the Asian characters die, but Penelope lives at the end. Whereas it's
Right.
kind of like different aspects like that. But if you like put a character in the lore, like Prey, it's in a connected universe, but using the main character in it, it was so creative and it's the best Predator movie we've had in such a long time. So just like with that, like I think trying again with the cultures, it kind of ties into like my initial point, like the Woman King. I'm so terrified of like seeing like movies that take place in Africa, like pre-colonialism, because I feel like they'll treat us more like savages rather than the kings and queens like presented in the movie. But the way that was done was so powerful. And like with horror, like if you can like switch it up, then it's creative. And then also I think a lot of times with horror, like a Terrifier 2, like that's a gore one. Like it leans more in the gore and it's just like jump scares, jump scares, jump scares. And it's less about the psychological aspects of what makes you afraid. And that I think people need to dig into more.
Yeah. Oh, great, great, awesome, awesome stuff, awesome stuff. What was your second?
All right, so the second one. So I kind of wanted to have like a pot on this, but I feel like we could just like kind of have now. Where do you think the streaming wars are going? It just seems like everything just seems so unsustainable at the moment. Like there's so many streaming services, and a lot of them are like, okay, there are maybe two, three things that I like, and then it's like on another streaming service there's two three things that I like, and then like with other, and then like okay, then you have the catalog of back stuff. So there's some like a Peacock where it's just like not a lot on it, but I really love Psych. So like I've been rewatching that, and then I
Or
know like
Bel Air?
Bel Air just dropped, and different things like that. But you know, other movies like I saw Cabin, Knock at the Woods, Knock at the
Not the
Cabin,
Cabin.
but like that came out in theaters and stuff like that. There's another movie that when I talk about it in the Freakout Geekout section that came out on Peacock, but I just feel like with that, that's also hurting originality because because you have to create your own content at this point in order to survive. Like a Netflix used to have like every movie that came out in theaters, but and like all the TV shows, but since everyone has like different rights to it, they like stripped away like The Office was a big thing on it. Took that away. 30 Rock and all those different things. Psych I watched that for the first time on Netflix. And that got taken away. So just like different things like that where I think it's hurting, but it's also like, are we really going to spend $14.99 and then inflation on all these streaming services when you can just get cable? Or like obviously some people share, but like Netflix is like, oh, we're gonna crack down on it. If you crack down on it, people not gonna buy a new Netflix account. But at the same time, if they don't do that, we saw that almost every streaming service lost money last year, in terms of profit. So I don't really know where it's going.
Yeah, I don't know either actually because like that's actually something I've been thinking about because as I do like my monthly budgeting and see like my bills and whatnot, and I just see like, oh yeah, Disney, Crunchyroll, HBO Max, Amazon Prime. It's like, bro,
Yeah.
like it's starting to creep up there. Mostly because like, hey, thankfully I don't pay for Netflix. I share. What? They ain't gonna come after me. They don't know me.
Unless it's same household. Shh.
It ain't. That's the best part. But yeah, it's like things are starting to get insane because I don't know if you saw it, but like HBO Max is removing a bunch of movies this month.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah, and I'm just like, and some of these movies, like these are movies I'd watch on DVD because yes, I'm still old school like that. I still got my VHS player. Come at you, boy.
Nice.
But yeah, it's just like, dude, what's gonna happen? I'm thinking like, what's going to happen if they start releasing more and more streaming services? Because I know there's more than that we didn't mention. There's like, I think Apple has their own streaming service.
Paramount Plus is one.
Paramount, which I'm just like, why would I get either of those? There's like nothing on those platforms. There's like
Apple has a few, but it's like once it ends, they don't have anything else is the problem.
And then there's also Shudder, which is the horror platform. I don't need to pay for that because I broke the Fire Stick for reasons. But yeah, I'm just like, there is at this point there's gonna be a problem. And this problem is going to be basically a war between cable and streaming because eventually like both prices are going to even itself out.
Exactly.
And we're going to have to make a choice.
And yeah, the thing is that with cable, like with sports, one thing, but like even with sports, the sports networks want to have their own streaming services like
ESPN.
Yeah. Like Disney owns the ESPN. But there's also an ESPN Plus, and then they also own Hulu, which has live sports. But there's like a Hulu essentially Plus. You can get like 3 of them in a package with the Disney Plus, but at the same time, it's like, what are we doing?
And also, don't forget, like, I don't know if you know this, but like Disney is considering releasing Hulu.
Ooh, well, they're doing layoffs right now, so that's the thing.
I'm just like, bruh.
So just like with the streaming wars, again, creativity is definitely suffering, but like more people are getting into it. And the thing with HBO Max, like you mentioned, I believe Warner Brothers owns John Wick, and like they took off every John Wick movie before John Wick 4 comes out, which like it doesn't make sense because like people can watch it, you can get your streaming numbers up, and like there are sometimes where they take off movies and then they put them back on. Like Godzilla versus Kong has been on and off like multiple times, which it's weird if you own it.
Yeah. Yeah, some very questionable decisions right now, if you will.
Yeah. So what's your number 2?
All right. So my number 2, we're getting into the Star Wars bag today.
Ooh, Jamie might be mad. Her ears perked up.
Oh nah, she ain't gonna be mad at this one because we ended up talking about this one. Okay. Basically, the topic is, where do you think like the current state of Star Wars is going? Do you think like there's too much of it? Do you think there's not enough? Because don't forget, like in the case of Star Wars, like we got the Bad Batch, which literally just ended with season 2, and if they, and just so you don't get any spoilers, the way they ended it basically implies a season 3 has to happen. And then you got Mandalorian. And with the way Mandalorian went down, like Ahsoka is still happening, Acolyte's happening,
Andor season 2,
Jedi Survivor,
and another possible trilogy.
Yeah, I don't even know if that trilogy is still happening anymore because there's been no news on it. But yeah, you're just seeing like a bunch of just properties coming in and in. kind of similar to how Marvel kind of just, well, we know, well, it makes sense because
By
Disney,
Disney.
but like you just see like a bunch of things just get announced, but then you hear high nor hair of any of it, and it's also making me think, oh yeah, I forgot all the comics in there because it's like Star
Uh,
Wars.
there's also going to be another Visions season.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right. That's right. But yeah, I was saying like there's a Star Wars, there's like a Darth Vader comic, there's actually a Yoda comic, a Han Solo comic, there's like a new characters comic. You got Dr. Aphra, you got like all of the High Republic, which is I
Yeah.
think at least five on its own. Some by Marvel and actually some by Dark Horse, which I'm like, bro, how? Like how sway? But yeah, I'm just like here, like, do you think we're getting overcrowded with Star Wars, maybe diminishing returns? And and like with the way things are going, are we leading up to the sequel trilogy? Or are we just like kind of keeping that, just scrubbing that away?
Well, I feel like there's stuff that I've heard about The Mandalorian where like that one, like the weakest rated episode of the season so far is like with the doctor is teasing that's how Palpatine essentially cloned himself. I don't
Yeah.
know. It could not be, who knows? But I definitely think like I've seen less of a love for it. There are moments where nostalgia based, like an Obi-Wan, like people love that a lot because of, you know, Obi-Wan being back. Hayden Pat Christensen,
Christensen, sir.
Christensen, my bead, relax. So Hayden Christensen
Yeah,
coming
what can I
back
say,
as
bro?
Darth Vader. What was the like Andor like really took off because it was so different with that. And then I love the anime Visions one. Like those episodes were just absolutely sick. But I do feel like the the one problem with Star Wars is that a lot of its properties are centered around set points. So the original trilogy, episodes 4 through 6, and then episodes 1 through 3. Every show so far, outside of the sequels, serves the purpose of like those movies. So it's like, okay, episodes 1 through 3, how do like it takes place between 3 and 4. How do we get to episode 4? Or it's like, okay, how do we get to like episode 1? And like just like that. And then even with the Mandalorian taking place
After six.
after 6, potentially serving into the new trilogy, which may or may not get retconned. Who knows? But because like also with the Mandalorian, I have seen like less glowing reviews overall about the season.
Yeah.
It started with that Doctor episode, but it's like kind of continued on from there. So I think we're like in a point where it's just like, again, give us something original. But at the same time, Star Wars lives on nostalgia and lore, which is what like is sustaining it at the moment.
Yeah, yeah, agreed. Because it's like I don't know if you remember this, but like with the Ahsoka show, that's literally just the next season of Rebels, basically, because you got the casting of everybody from that show. Yet you see one of the characters appear in Mandalorian.
Mm.
Again, I'm not spoiling who, uh, in case people haven't seen it yet somehow. But and then it's literally following up as to like what happened at the end of Rebels, and also Hayden Christensen's appearing in there, so we see him more of a Big Daddy V. But
Yes,
like,
sir.
but again, I'm just like, that's a lot. It's a
Which,
lot.
which we're gonna love it because Ahsoka is literally one of the top 5, top 10 most popular Star Wars characters. But at the same time, it's like you can only go up to episode again 4, 5, and 6, which she's not necessarily in. So it's a set point.
Yeah, that's why I'm just here like, all right. So I'm thinking like, okay, so in terms of like, let's say they finish all of that out.
Right.
Where do you go? Do we want to go far future or far past?
I want to see the High Republic, honestly, just because I feel like nobody knows it. Unless you're like a super Star Wars fan, no one knows enough about it. And with the going into the far future, which I would like to see, it has to be something that makes sense because you can't go 7 through 9 again with like lacking any originality and like having another stand-in Nazi army. Like we can't do that again. because when we got to episode 9, stuff just didn't make sense, and it really felt like people were just pulling things out of their behind. So,
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. Though I do kind of want to see more of the Old Republic era than the High Republic, because I feel like
that's what I meant to say. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I'm saying like, because when you said High Republic, I'm like, sir, High Republic is literally just them doing the Old Republic only 200 years before Episode 1 rather than 4,000.
Whoever has Darth Revan is what I want to see.
Okay, good. At least we're on board with that one. That's all I care about. Give me Keanu Reeves' Revan. Make it happen. Make it happen. In fact, wait, if I remember correctly, Keanu Reeves said he wanted to join either Marvel or Star Wars. Hold on, let me double check on that.
I believe he wanted to be Ghost Rider for Marvel.
Hold up. He said he just wants to join the MCU. And this was 11 days ago. Okay, so
I definitely saw something before that, though.
Yeah, this like 11 days ago. He said like, "Oh yeah, I actually would want to join the MCU." I'm like, please,
No.
just let it happen. Revan Reeves, Keanu Revan.
All right. So, anything else, or should we get into our sponsor for the day?
Nah, I think we covered everything.
All right, let's get it.
Today's sponsor is the Dunder Mifflin Office of Papers. If you want to get all of your paper supplies for your offices and for all your friends and just for your printer at home, come to Dunder Mifflin today. And if you come to our executive office, you get to experience just the love and joy that each of our employees share with one another, such as Pam and Jim, Michael and Dwight, Stanley and Nobody. So please come join Dunder Mifflin today.
So we're back in it. So with this being one of our last episodes of the season and next week being a review, thought it would be good time to have our first conversation on will there be a season 3 in Blerd City. So this, listeners, is our very first discussion on it. I have no idea what he's going to say. He has no idea what I'm going to say. I barely know what I'm going to say. So with that, let's get to it. So we can start with like what we really liked about season 2.
Oh yeah, I think what I liked about season 2 was just all the guest casts and just how we were able to like incorporate more people into the citizenry of Blerd City. And just I wasn't gonna take it that far, but all right, yep, join the cult that is Blerd City, and then we just having a fun time overall. I really like that. I really like the just how much we bonded. We've just had laughs. We had some arguments like today, but or just random chicanery that happens as typical for any family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the guest was definitely in the fun. We had a lot of guests season 2 compared to season 1. Definitely fun people that like we know, people that like either of us haven't met before, like where one of us knows them and then like bring them on. The interview with Jade was really fun. The sports tournament was absolutely just bananas. That was one of my favorite episodes.
Still getting flack about that to this day.
From who?
I'll tell you off.
Dope. But yeah, that was fun. Just like seeing different aspects of our personalities like really grow. With that has been like absolutely fun getting into our thoughts with that, and just like something to look forward to. Since we started, it's kind of been like not an anchor. That's not the word I'm looking for, but definitely a lifeline. For me in certain aspects of just like outside of work, outside of my writing. Something fun that I can look forward to on the weekends to just do for an hour or 2 hours and then just like chop it up, have good laughs and stuff. So that's definitely been like hype.
Yeah, agreed. I enjoyed that as well.
So like any other favorite episodes?
Oh man, favorite episodes besides the sports episode. Oh my gosh. Let's see. I say that's a tough one. I would probably say the Andor episodes with Miss Jamie. because of, again, mine and her chicanery, like just our back and forth is perhaps one of the most interesting interactions of all time.
Yeah, Cyril got buried.
Yeah, he got put under the gulag. But and then I would say like another one would actually probably be the John Wick episode because of the fact that we got a three-peat with Avropuff Samurai as well as chicanery with the
The truant one.
yes, with the true yo, but oh man, but those are just some of my favorite highlights. I mean, I enjoyed like every single episode because something ends up happening that just has me dying
Right.
physically or emotionally or internally.
Yeah. Outside of the sports up, like again, I like them as well. Outside of the sports one, which is just but absolute bananas, where we were in tears, entering through the green door. I think in terms of nerddom for both of us, the way we love the Hulk and that storyline, talking about that was super fun. The X-Men conversation we had that then led into the draft.
Oh yes, the draft that I clearly won.
that we got bodied was absolutely fun.
Yes, y'all should have known better than to come after me.
That was something different. And then the Vegeta episode, again, nerddom. I really want to do more character studies. But it's just like, yeah, we have movies and stuff to do, but that's definitely one.
Oh yeah. And how did I forget about the Vegeta episode? That is shame on me. Shame on me as a fan.
All right, so then we can transition into challenges that in terms of like a season 3 that pop up.
Oh, the challenges that we faced or the challenges that we're gonna face. I say
both. You can do both.
Yeah. Well, I say like the main challenge that we clearly faced were the technical issues. Like here's a little the pulling back the curtain, y'all. Here's a little thing. So firstly, there's the fact that the program that we are using to, for recording and all that jazz, because we initially did it in person.
Mm-hmm.
And however, unfortunately, the program that we use, to record decided to want to say, peace out.
We did lose an episode part of an episode because of that.
Yeah, we basically lost an episode because of that. And as such, we transitioned to another platform, which I'm just like, actually, this kind of works better because I'm legit still in my PJs and all that nonsense. But in terms of other challenges, right, that we faced, of course, there was the whole where are edits at? So like, and this is actually the same program because like initially we used this one program for both recording and editing, and now we just use it exclusively for editing. Turns out that apparently we can't have two people like logged in at the same time or something like that. At least that's how I'm explaining it because we don't know why it happens. But
I don't understand it. Yeah.
But like each time one of us does the changes and we save it, whoever the other person who logs in doesn't see the changes. So we're just like, yo, why?
But it's weird because we didn't have this issue for the longest time. Until like I would say like maybe a month and a half ago for season 2, where it just like started this and like you can log out and then got it, but when you give it back to me and I do the same thing, it's just weird. So it's like a lot of like editing, downloading, making sure this like matches and stuff like that. So I would say one thing, like the software would definitely need to change if it doesn't change.
Yeah, for sure. And that's like the main primary challenge that like I face because I find like the recording it and doing all that is good and fun. I'm just like, the only thing I really dread is when it gets to the editing process because of the software. I'm just like, please let the changes be there. Please let it be there, because if not, I'm gonna be an unhappy camper. But yeah, that's mainly it from my end.
Yeah, I would say one thing that's other than that because that was definitely tough. Schedule planning out. There are definitely times, especially when we have guests on, where it's just like when we have to record it, and then since we both edit, like it's going to be very tight. And just again, we both have jobs and different aspects of things that we're going on. So like, because our one episode essentially we may or may not end up doing is because like one of my guests just had to keep pushing stuff back, and it was like during the holiday season, and then like we already planned out season 2 completely, so it was kind of hard to fit it in. So that's definitely been a challenge. And yeah, so that was tough. And then another thing is this burnout. I think that like that's a real thing.
Mm,
With both of us, like both of us have jobs, you know, you're prepping for being a lawyer and aspects of that. And then other responsibilities that I know you have, and then other responsibilities that I don't know that you have with that.
and
And then
responsibilities I don't know I have.
yes. And then again, just with me, like work, and then writing. So with me, this week I will have finished my first draft of my sequel book to Phantom Pains, which I'm
Woo!
super excited for because I finally got to write a part that I've been waiting years to write. That editing process is going to be bananas. So I absolutely hate editing books, but yeah, with that, I know this being a sequel, it's going to be harder. And then there's also a book, a mystery book that I've finished that I'm trying to get published traditionally. So I kind of have to be like searching. I'm in the agent searching process, which has been a challenge. So it's just kind of both of that, and then I'm already have the story plotted out for my third book in the irregular tale series, and then I also want to do a sequel, well, a new trilogy. So it's just like a lot with that, where balancing it out with the pot can be challenging. And then other things that we both kind of, you know, life, like you mentioned, like things that we don't know we have coming up. And then engagement is one thing where it's just like not trying to be obsessed with numbers, but like just like getting an active fan base, getting like the Discord popping, mailbags and different things like that, the Patreon.
Mm,
So like balancing like how much do we like give attention to this in order for engagement? What do we just kind of let go? I know we discussed like a gaming channel and things like that, but that's something else. So definitely burnout, because there are definitely times where I'm just like not necessarily recording. I usually have energy, but like once it starts with the editing, it's just like, oh, I could be doing so much other things now.
yeah, agreed. And I think like that's just something that happens in terms of just an entire process, especially like if you're doing it for like an extended period of time. And it's definitely something like I don't want to happen. I don't want it for anybody to happen, especially for you. So like when it comes to that, I think like there are reasons we're taking breaks in between. There are reasons, and it's partially not just because of scheduling, but also because we're just humans. I I may seem like I'm a bundle of energy, but that's only when I absolutely need it, and I can't exude that energy 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because that's draining on a guy, and it will kill you,
Yes.
and it will kill me. So I ain't trying to die at the before I reach the age of 89. Uh, and yes, 89 is a very specific number. But that's just a benchmark. But hey, but yeah, so just when it comes to that, there's a reason we take breaks. There's a reason we leave y'all wanting more.
Yeah. And I think with engagement as well, like taking breaks, I know like when we took a break between season 1, season 2, you know, obviously listeners are gonna kind of mildly drop in that aspect of it. So like if we take a break or whether we decide to just like stop completely, then like again, there's gonna be a drop between season 2, season 3 if we do that. But also just kind of I know like one thing, like every podcaster in our aspect of it, you know, we're not like famous people that are now deciding to do a podcast and we have that fan base that we're pulling in, like we're ground zero, out the mud, as they say.
Hmm.
So one thing that I always see through a lot of podcasters is like you just have to be consistent and keep pushing through and fighting. So like we haven't even hit a year yet. And but I think like the engagement that we've gotten so far and just like the fun that we've had, the conversations that we've had through it have been like definitely uplifting in aspects of that. So with that, what would we hope to do in a hypothetical season 3?
Oh man, so in a potential season three, this is I perhaps like would want to see again like more of the interview types. Like how we did with Jade in her book. Yeah, so like stuff like okay, yeah, Blur without fear, I'm calling you out, brothers, because we want to get you on here. Our schedules ain't lining up. But and Internet City. Aaron, Mikey, I'm calling y'all two out as well to come on this podcast. And you know what? Ethan and Griffin from the Supple Boys, I'm calling both of y'all to come on this show too. Yeah, so like actually like ended up cultivating just good relationships, friendships. Oh yeah, Chad Larson from Deathstride. I'm gonna need you on here as well. I've cultivated like try to foster relationships and friendships with folks so that way just because I'm a friendly guy and also like I enjoy their stuff and like I would love for them to show up on the podcast and I definitely would love to get their insights on just everything. So yeah, that's one thing I wanted to definitely look out for.
Yeah, I definitely want to collab with other podcasts. That's one thing that I want to do, like maybe like a nerd trivia thing, or just like we hop on your podcast for a movie review, and then you hop on our podcast for a movie review type stuff, or like do a Blerd City draft versus like their team, and we're like conferring and stuff like that. That's definitely something that I want to see, just like growing it. And then there are some reactors that I want to get to, but oh man, just like reaching out, that's like that big step.
Your boy Roshi, I'm coming at you, my guy.
Bro, I want to get Struggle Nation on the pod.
Again, I know all of us, we're going to DreamCon. I will see y'all. Blue Raya, come at me.
So yeah, just like ask. There's one that I forget. It's like Ayo Lax Zone, but he like does he does reactions to anime, but he got me into Ace of Diamond, and I really want to like talk about that. So that's something that I would love to do. More guests. There's one segment that we busted out on our Patreon for the Fan Force Stick, and I really want to do that with the High Priestess of Ferrix. But it's based on the trilogy of the Star Wars. That episode would be peak. He's mulling it over, the listeners. He's mulling it over.
Make that episode 1.
I don't know. It can't be. It can't be episode 1 because if we were to come back, it's going to be around Guardians.
Dang it!
Exactly. That's the issue. Like that's another challenge. Like there are so many movies that are coming out between May and, let's just say, August for the initial phases, and like deciding which ones we want to do and which ones we don't want to do might be a challenge.
Okay. You know what? I'm all right. It's fine.
Because we already got a request for a guest for that one if we do come back then.
Show right we do.
So we can't skip it.
We show right we do.
All right. So yeah. Anything else you would love to do?
Oh man. Let's see. Besides getting more, let's get like more 3-peats, because having Afro Samurai come for a 3-time is like that's an achievement. I need more folks to hop on that bandwagon as well. We got 1 2-time, I believe. We either have 1 or 2 2-time guests. I know Autumn was definitely a 2-time guest. So yeah, Autumn was a 2-timer. Yeah, and then Afropub was the only 3-timer, and I think that was it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we need to get we need to get more people of the citizenry to join us for 2-peats, 3-peats, 5-peats, senior correspondent positions. Yep. Also, perhaps like more discussions on just games. Yes, absolutely. Because like I feel like that's not like an area we didn't talk about enough. Because again, like we have like we have like 1.5 million different topics and 1.5 million other things that in the nerd culture that's coming out. So hey, more gaming topics definitely would be down for that as well. I want to do more character studies because I feel like we have incredible conversations when we do character studies. Like I want to do a 2-part Naruto character study. Like that's one thing I want to do. I know you mentioned like a Zuko one that we could do, which would be just like fire. I see what you did there. We got to talk about cartoons. That's one that I've talked to a friend with. We have not touched on cartoons, which is like the second tier of scoring that we mentioned. Like we haven't talked about cartoons one time yet. I thought, oh wow, we actually didn't. That's crazy. Not one time. So yeah, that's something I want to discuss. All right, definitely. And then of course anything dealing with Rogue, me being the Rogue Jedi performer, that will be, hey, we can have like more discussions on that. We have two cons coming up.
like at minimum over the summer. So
I'm gonna be busy.
yeah, that's the issue, burnout.
I'm gonna die.
But yeah, also more mail. Well, I would love for mailbags to be like we could get like a question every week or every 2 week, or be able to like do it more frequently. And then I think, and then the gaming channel, which we kind of have to figure out. So
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
all right, I think that about covers it. In terms of when we will decide, let's leave it for a week, mull it over, and then we'll let you know, listeners. You can let us know if you want a season 3. Don't hound us. I promise you, we will go on a blocking spree. but yeah, if you want a season 3, just let us know. We got a lot to consider. Let's put it like that. So.
Yep. So hey, we ain't gonna leave you hanging for too long, but we are gonna leave you just hungry enough for more.
Nice. So another segment that we kind of want to get more popping with like listeners, the Freakout Geekout segment has returned. And this is one that I was gonna do last week, but we had to do the get it off your chest. But recently, again, we mentioned on Peacock, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is so good. It's so good, people. I did not think it would be this good. Like I did not that I didn't want to see it. I was like, I don't really want to see another Shrek-esque movie because the last few Shreks that came out were kind of like bad, needless to say, and were like money grabs. But Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, it was like just so deep. Like it was deep on a level that I didn't think, and like it really affected me. Just like the lesson at the end, where it's just like, not to spoil, but it's like, man, if I could have all these wishes in life, but this is what I need to appreciate. And then like even like Kitty Two Softpaws, like her arc where she just wanted what she wanted, and then getting that Pepito, just like his like his not really an arc, but like his just character throughout the movie was like really loving. And then Puss in Boots, his arc was just like, wow, I'm a fight for this life. I appreciate it, not to get too deep. And then the one that really, really hit me was Goldie and the Three Bears. That one hit me so hard, where it's just like, wow. Like, I'm not going to spoil, but people, that is such a great movie. Like, it blew me away. It definitely blew me away. I see your reaction. What do you got?
Oh my lord. Oh my lord, this movie. Okay, let's talk about it, right? Because this movie it had no business being as good as it was.
Right.
Like, okay, so here's my thing. Like, I did not care much, if at all, for Puss in Boots. Like, anything past Shrek 2, I did not care about.
Yes.
But this movie was everything. Firstly, that Attack on Titan animation.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, as soon as I saw that, I'm like, boy, no way, boy. Boy, no way.
Bruh.
Did they get Mappa? Did they get Whit Studio to do this?
I saw your boy Roshi react to it, and I thought it was the end of the movie, and it wasn't.
No, it was not. That was the killer. That was the killer bit. But speaking of killer, let's talk about him. Let's talk about him. The biggest villain. He is a real one. He legit. And the fact is that as a villain, he was terrifying.
Yes.
Honestly, you're like, this is not for kids. This
literal
can't be for kids.
Embodiment of death. Yeah.
I am death. Straight up.
Bro, when he said that, he was like, it's not literal. It's not metaphorical. I am death.
Death. Straight up. Wait. No. Wait. Was this lies flashing before your eyes? Pick it up. Pick it up. I'm like, no. I was gonna rock with him.
Mans was fed up with Puss in Boots.
And you know what even the best part is? Like, I rewatched that movie so many times just to see him in the background. Because you can see him in the background for like most of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, hey, like, hold on. Is that my boy Death?
Chilling in the cut.
He just out here sipping on his wine. He waiting for Puss in Boots to be caught lacking.
Hey, what's that new saying you got? With rumblings and humblings?
Oh, get rumbled. Stay humbled, my friends.
Bro, and the way they had like his first stand up on the scenes, like, see, I'm not trying to spoil, but the Goldie story arc, by the time it ended, almost had me in tears because I was like, wow, the pain that they felt, and just like, man.
Don't forget how our favorite pup was lying on puss when that
Yo,
happened.
bruh, that was so like, oh my
No
god.
words, and I'm just here like, oh,
And then like we got to talk about Jack Horner.
oh yeah, Jack.
That was a fun villain because he did his baker's dozen dirty.
Oh man, Jack is out of line this movie. He was out of line and I was here for it.
Bro, the part with like the thing that was on his conscience. I mean,
oh god.
but yes, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. It's not. You don't have to have like kids around you to watch it. Like it, if you're an adult, it will impact you in a lot of different ways. It was incredible movie. I highly recommend it. I highly recommend it.
I highly recommend it too. And also just know that even though it's called Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, you do not need to see any of the other movies to get this one.
Mm-hmm.
I would say
there's like a quick, it wasn't even a reference. It just showed, Shrek and Donkey for like a split second.
yeah, so like literally if you want like a movie watching order for this, you can do Shrek, Shrek 2, this.
Yes, absolutely.
So yeah, that's oh man, thank you for that geek out freak out because I'm in my feelings right now.
Bro, if we could actually spoil the things we could talk about, but yes. So with that, we are wrapping up this episode completely at random. But yeah, what recommendations do you have?
Oh man, so for some recommendations, of course I say Love is Blind, which is on Netflix, obviously. And then in terms of just other things that come out, watch Puss in Boots. I mean, do it. Let's see. Then when Evil Dead Rise drops, I say watch it. If it may or may not be good, still watch it because it's an Evil Dead movie. You're gonna have a fun time, especially if you into gore like me. Or you, and then also as we mentioned, like all of our guests, like, hey, watch Blerd Without Fear with on YouTube. Watch your boy Roshi. Watch Blue Raya. Watch Sylvanas. Watch
Struggle Nation.
Watch Struggle Nation. Watch KLC Press. Especially when they're doing their live streams on Discord because your boy's always part of them, and I always be out of pocket. But yeah, that's some of mine.
Also, your boy Rock Lee, and then your boy, what is it? AO Laxton. I'm so sorry, I'm not pronouncing it correctly, but you can check that out as well. I'll do more recommendations of like April movies later, like next week. But Suzume, when that comes out, if you love anime, Your Name, Weathering with You type movies, go check that out. So yeah, with that, next week, season finale might be the series finale. We're going to do Super Mario Brothers, and we're going to have a good time with it.
Yeah. And now it's time for our plugs. So, of course, we got ourselves our Instagram and our Twitter, which is at Blerd City 22. Give us a follow, like our posts and our messages, and stay updated on our notifications. We got ourselves our YouTube and our Twitter under Blerd City Pod. Especially for the Patreon, you can give yourself a little bit of cheddar and then have access to exclusive episodes. Additionally, we have ourselves our Discord, which is also linked in our Instagram. You click on that link, or you copy that link into your favorite explorer of choice, and you get to join this amazing citizenry in this community. And then also we have ourselves our email address, which is blerdcity22@gmail.com, which is where you submit your Geek Out Freakouts like we just did. Also random fan theories, OVA questions, and all that good chicanery. And then finally for our personal, I have my TikTok, which is the Rogue Jedi 21. But then also the other big thing is I also have another podcast titled The Ravens of Everkeep, which is a KLC podcast found on YouTube. And it is where you can, learn about the comic called Vanish. and you get to just listen about that, see like the different insights that me and my other three co-hosts have, and just have a fun time with that. We have the first 2 episodes out already, so hey, it'll be a quick and fast listen to when you're doing your daily errands. So what you got?
Yeah, I forgot one challenge we have for season 3 is that you're currently having an affair with another podcast. So, we're in the seeing other people phase of our relationship.
Wait. It ain't even like that. It's just a podcast triangle.
Wait, what's the third one?
It's just a podcast triangle. Me, Blerd City, and Ravens of Everkeep.
Yes, fighting for affections and stuff like that. So for my personal pages, again, TikTok is it's struggling.
Oh yeah. So the Rogue Jedi 21 on TikTok, that might not be a thing anymore.
All right. So for my personal author pages, it's Metri_dash. So METRI_DASH. My Twitter at the Mad-16. And if you want to check out my book, Phantom Pains, A Most Regular Tale, that's on Amazon. Planning the sequel to release late 2023, early 2024. So I am back on track with that once I finish my draft. So anything else? Oh, words of encouragement.
Yeah, I was about to say, dang, we just not going to end people words of encouragement. That's crazy.
It's been a lot, man.
All
it's
right,
a random episode.
Yeah. So in terms of my words of encouragement is that burnout is a legitimate thing. Whether it's you're doing things in your daily life and you feel like you're not able to give it your all, and you feel like you feel like you've given everything and there's not much left to give, then it's perfectly okay to take a break. Take a break for a little while, get yourself to reset, recharge, and if necessary, you may have to leave what you're doing outright if you can, because if not, then you're only risking your own mental health, which is something we do not want.
Yes, for me, this ties into my first random rumination, along with one of the things that we mentioned earlier as well. But really appreciate the life that you have right now. There could be multiple timelines. There are multiple things that you could say that you wish you would have done, that you could be doing, that should quote unquote be doing, or that just like you randomly think about. But man, if you miss the life that you have, the people around you that really care about you, like you can actually see how they care about you. If you don't think you have people that care about you, there are people that will care about you in one aspect or another. So just really appreciate that you have. Grass isn't always greener, but also, man, just really take the time to like appreciate what you have. So like we always say, it's not goodbye forever, so it's goodbye for now. And that's the Blerd City podcast.
See ya later.